Hey, what's up, everybody? Chad Calek here, and welcome back to the In a Crowded Room podcast for episode number 56. Which, before we get into it, I just want to say thank you to those of you who have spread the word and sent a link to either yesterday's podcast or your favorite podcast to 10 friends that you know and ask them to check it out and to subscribe. To those of you who did that favor for us, thank you. If you're just now learning about it or you haven't listened to yesterday's podcast and you're jumping ahead, I would like to ask you guys again, please take a podcast that you enjoy, anyone is fine, and send it out to 10 people that you know and ask them to check it out and subscribe. We're doing a bit of an experiment right now to see how much the needle moves on spreading the word when we all kind of move as a unit. So if you enjoy the podcast, this is a way you could really help us. And I just want to say thank you for those who have done this for us. Thank you in advance for those of you who will. And the podcast is growing every single day. So thank you guys so much. It means a lot to me. Now, for episode 56, we're going to talk about deep fakes. If you're unfamiliar with what a deep fake is, please Google it and check it out, or go to YouTube and just Google deep fake. And what it is a software program that allows you to change a person's identity on video. And you could make anybody look like anybody. Now, there's a starter kit when you download the software to do it that allows you to make anybody you want, male, female, doesn't matter what sex, race, age. You can make anybody look like Nick Cage. It's really, really crazy software because it is absolutely AI. Meaning that how the software works is, like, say you take the identity of Donald Trump and you want to make Donald Trump appear to be Nicolas Cage. Once you apply the mask and the software to the image of Donald Trump, it will now, the software, will search the web for every known image of Nick Cage from every angle, every smile, every grimace, every laugh. And there's millions of photos. And it will combine all of these photos to make a full angled composite where no matter what Trump's natural facial movements are, it will simply replace his facial movements with Nick Cage's face. It's incredible. You have to see it. It is in the very early stages, so you can tell when you look close. But, like I said, these are the earliest deepfakes that are out there. And some of them are just incredible. I mean, absolutely incredible. Now, the first place that this is being utilized, as you might imagine, is in the world of pornography. So there are, these people that are really good at using the software, and they would just go in and find a body that they want to put, the face of an actress or a singer onto, the porn star. And I'm not a huge pornography watcher, just to be honest. To be honest, it's just not really my thing per se. But not not that I hate it or anything. But I don't watch a lot of porn. But I did get a chance to watch part of a porn that was a deep fake, and it used Natalie Portman, and it was pretty incredible. It looked like Natalie Portman, to the degree that if I were Natalie Portman, I would be like, what the fuck is going on? So this begs all kinds of potential problems. If you hear some, what sounds like a bulldog drinking water, that's Bugsy drinking his water right now. So, where was I? Okay, back to Natalie Portman and the potential dangers of all this. Look, the obvious dangers, are political stuff, right? There's a video out there right now with Jordan Peele, the director, doing his Obama voice impersonation, and they have this deep fake software was applied, and pretty much it looks and sounds like Obama saying a bunch of things that he would never say. Um, there is the equivalent of the deep fake facial software. There's one for the voice that's being done as well. That was applied to Joe Rogan. And it does the same thing. You would type in whatever you want the sentence to be, and the software would source hours and hours and hours and hours of audio online to find every word ever spoken and every voice inflection known to man. And it would create this perfect sentence that sounds exactly like Joe Rogan. But of course, Joe Rogan never said this sentence. Now, the worry is, like I said, in the future, what if there was a video that came out that looked real of Trump saying, we are nuking Iran, North Korea, and Afghanistan right now? It could cause havoc. But when I started thinking about this, there's so many other ways that this type of software could just fuck so many things up. From a ground level, like I'm talking just human interaction. I mean, you got to think how much human beings are in contact right now and how much we love social media and how much we use it and how much we trust it. When we see things, and we all like to say, not us, not me, not us, but the last election proved with all the fake news articles that were made and all this stuff that when people read things, they have a tendency to just trust what they read. Now, I think most of us are smart enough to know the difference between a purely fake news story and something that's not. But when you look at this deep fake software, I mean, this stuff really does appear real. Now, like I said, it's in its first iteration right now. Wait till it's like in the 5th version. And what I mean by ground level problems is, what if you're, I don't know, a husband, and you open up an email and you have a video from your wife telling you that she's cheating on you, she's leaving you, and she already has the kids, and she's, driving out of the city. If you saw that and you truthfully believed that was real, there's no telling what could happen. Crimes of passion happen every single day. And something like that could absolutely blow somebody's mind. And that's just, again, I'm just bringing up examples of like on a ground level, social interaction, human beings every day, or somebody who decides to screw with an employee and you get a video from your boss saying, thanks for all the work, but, things have been tight, we're letting you go, you're fired. And you think you're fired and you think that you just lost everything. What are you going to do? Who knows? These are just examples of how somebody could use this software to totally mess around with you. Now think about this on like another social level. What if somebody made a video of me and it was a deep fake? And in that deep fake video of me, I suddenly told all you guys that the paranormal is not real, that you're all idiots for believing, that ghosts are real or anything like that. That I can't believe, how we've all fooled you on these television shows. Now, there's a lot of people that would obviously go, this is a deep fake, but how far will it get out there in the web? How many times will it be passed around to how many people who never follow up to find out the truth if that was real or not? How many people would almost instantly change their opinion, and what effect would that have on, my life or my career? I mean, these are real problems that we're going to face in the future. I mean, what if a LeBron James video came out where he announced that he was retiring from basketball, and he had cheated on so many games in the past, and he just couldn't get over his gambling addiction and how many points he had shaved. I mean, these types of things are going to become commonplace. And the software is just getting so damn good. Like, how would one know other than the absurdity of whatever the video is, right? And when you think about it, there's whole industries that could be in trouble. I mean, not that I love the porn industry, but they could pretty much use the same model and use however many different faces that they wanted. They could eventually, if they can change the faces, they could change the bodies. I mean, this could be an entire industry that's decimated and wiped out. And the same could be said for like the news industry. What's going to happen when it gets to the point where you just need one person, one body to deliver the news, and you could actually change everything else? You know, I mean, you just wouldn't have to hire a whole bunch of people. You would just need one or two people. I mean, it's really fascinating to think about how this technology is going to change the world. And when it comes to deepfakes, I think it's going to be definitely for the worst. Definitely, because all this can do is lie. That's all this technology can do. It can just fake people's messages, their existence, where they're at, who they are. That's all it can do. And it's really good at it. And the way this software works too, the longer you give the software to run and source the web, the better the image becomes. So over time, the more that I put out videos, the more that I put out like normal cell phone checking in videos, the more that I do interviews, the more that I go on coast to coast and they film it, the more TV shows that I do, the more movies that I do, the better my stolen image will become. And if you're someone like Trump, forget it. I mean, there's, billions of hours of logged footage. So literally, someone could fake anything that he says. And what effect will that have on the economy? Think about that. If Trump tomorrow came out and there's a deep fake that was really passable, and Trump said, fuck it, we're firing back to China, and now they have a 70% tariff. And no matter what they do, I'm not coming off it till they, until they surrender. I mean, even if it took time to figure out that it was a fake, it would still have a dramatic economic impact. So legislation has to catch up to this stuff. And the thing is, it never will. Congress is just, it moves at a snail's pace. Like nothing gets passed in time, and technology moves at lightning speed. So how are we going to defend against this? How are we going to defend against this, especially when it can affect us on every level, on a ground level, on a professional level, on an economic level, and on a political level? And that comes, when you think about that, you can even take it a step further. I had a chance to watch a couple of the battle scenes of Game of Thrones because I heard it was just shocking how intense it was and how realistic it was. And I watched the whole scene of the dragon burning down the city, and it was mind-bending how good it was. I mean, it was stunning. And when it comes to false flags, good God, all you got to do is have a location that nobody can access but those who are claiming the event happened. That's all you would need for a false flag anymore. I mean, there's virtually no way that we could tell the difference. You can make that stuff look so real now. It would be so easy to convince everybody. It just blew my mind when I was thinking about it. And if you want to watch something, I brought this up before, and I really want to stress that you guys should watch this. Go check out the Elon Musk interview with Joe Rogan. There's something that Justin and I were talking about the other day that hit me that was really mind-blowing if you think about it. Basically, Rogan is saying, man, it must be amazing to be you, Elon Musk. And he looks incredibly sad and defeated, and he's basically saying, you don't want to be me. I don't think you'd like it. In which he goes in to ask him, why he has this kind of, somberness to him. And he talks about AI, and he says, it's moving too fast. I've talked to everybody about the potential dangers of AI. And make no mistake about it, guys, deep fakes are AI. It's here, okay? The birth of AI has already happened. And he says it was futile. And now I've realized that it's going to be what it's going to be. But mark my words, AI is far more dangerous, a much bigger threat, exponentially bigger, he says, than the nuclear threat. And I said to Justin, I said, what does he know that we don't know? Because if I'm Elon Musk, I'm a billionaire, I've got the coolest damn car company in the world, I'm sending rockets out to space, I'm changing the world with solar energy. What could be so bad that you would just walk around completely defeated? And that's how he looks in that interview, really defeated. At times he looks like he's almost going to cry. I mean, it's weird. He just kind of looks like, fuck it, man, we lost. I mean, he really does look that way. And that's the episode where he smoked the weed. Well, he basically, when you watch it, he did not inhale. That's true. He actually just kind of puffed it out. But he just kind of had this fuck it attitude, like the whole time. And I remember Rogan's asking him basically what would be like a failure, what would bum you out. And he says if we didn't become a multi-planet species. He said that makes him sad. The thought and the idea that we won't become a multi-planet species. Now listen, I want to become that too. I think that would be awesome for mankind. I think that's an awesome goal to have. But I wouldn't be walking around sad if it didn't happen in my lifetime. I would assume it wouldn't happen in my lifetime. And I would like to believe that we'll become that. But Elon was like, I would be really sad if we didn't, become a multi-planet species in my lifetime. And it just got me thinking again, what does he know? What does he know that in his lifetime he places so much value on humankind becoming a multi-planet species that the thought of it not happening just crushes him? Just gives him this defeatist attitude where he's just sad. And he can't enjoy being Elon Musk unless he feels as though we have a real chance to become a multi-planet species. And his fear is AI. And I see why his fear is AI. The obvious thing people always say is when we create an artificial human, basically, the fear is that robot will become aware and they'll become, they'll have a consciousness to them. And they'll realize that mankind is really evil, man. And we kill each other and we destroy things. And when it comes to the planet, we are brutal. And we seem to not care at all about the planet right now. Islands are freaking disappearing into the ocean right now. Florida is already losing, oceanfront property to warming. Like, and no one cares. We're still fracking. We're still blowing up fault lines. The U.S. has completely checked out of the environmental protection game. And we were leading the way. We seem to not care at all. So, I mean, it's not crazy to think that an AI robot would become aware that we are an incredibly violent species and perhaps the world would be better without us. That's the fear, right? Now, I think that is like big time sci-fi down the road stuff. That's not the kind of AI that ultimately scares me. What scares me is this deep fake shit. What scares me is special effects that are so incredible that they cannot be discerned from reality. In my Two-Faced the Grey documentary, Daniel David Skyfall, predicts this false alien invasion that's coming. When I look at things like deepfakes and where special effects are going, this starts to seem extremely possible. Is it going to happen? That's for a whole other podcast we're going to get into very soon. But when it comes to the technology, is the technology available to actually make this appear so real that we can't discern between reality and what's fake? Absolutely. Absolutely. And think about this, if we can just download deep fake software for free, imagine what the government actually has. Imagine what they have. They're not toying around with shareware, you know? And if our government has it, so does Russia, so does China. You know, the next world war that we have is going to be unlike anything we've ever seen. I really believe it's going to be a war of information and disinformation. We all know the dangers of hackers that could take over whole grids of power and shut down, entire, electrical grids and entire communication grids. And supposedly they can just bring planes out of the sky, because everything is ran, through the web and through, electronic communication. But that's not the type of war that's going to happen. I really don't think it is, because, when it comes to hackers, all the first world countries have amazing hackers, and, the top of the line, they all kind of know what they can and can't do. So I don't really think that's going to be the next big fear. Or should I say, how the next big war will be fought. I think it's going to be information, and I think this whole AI thing, I think it's going to be totally different than what we think. I don't think it's going to be, Terminator. I don't think there's going to be half human, half robots walking around and they figure out that we're bad and they should kill us all. I think it's going to be totally different. I think it's going to be a war of information where we just can't discern what's real. Try to think about this. If tomorrow came and you turned on your television and you could not tell what was real versus what was fake, what would you do? What would you do? What if some reports were that, a war had broken out on the Canadian border? And it really did. But we don't know if that's real or not unless you're there. And then we're told that California has a nuke coming at it. And it looks real, but it isn't. Like, what would we do as a country if we could no longer tell what is real? And if that were the case, how would we communicate to find out what is really real? Because you can go, oh, we'll have a local news, station go down and see if this event is really real. But you don't know if the news station video that you watch, is that real? Or is that a deep fake? Do you see where I'm going here? Because the only way I see to kind of get around that is to take a step backwards. If technology was that far out in front, in order to find out what's going on, I think we'd have to go back to like analog communication, where we know for a fact on an analog signal, a human being is on the other end of that radio signal. And they can tell us what's really going on in that area. It's almost like to beat the leap forward, we'd have to take a step backwards. This is the birth of something scary. This really is. At least that is my opinion. I would love to know your guys' opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. I really, really want to hear what you think. I'm very interested to see what you guys think about this. Definitely. And once again, if you haven't, please share the podcast, this episode, or any episode that you choose, with 10 friends of yours, that would mean a lot to me. Thank you guys for listening to this episode. Again, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will be back tomorrow with more. All the best.